We probably don't need to learn coding anymore starting from 2025. This is what Jensen Huang said.
It is our job to create computing technology such that nobody has to program, and that the programming language is human.
But hold on. I know many people interpret it in a way that learning coding is not needed anymore with the development of AI. This is actually the misinterpretation of what he wanted to express. Let's look at the big picture.
You probably recall, over the course of the last 10 years, 15 years, almost everybody who sits on a stage like this would tell you it is vital that your children learn computer science. For the very first time, we have closed the gap. The technology divide has been completely closed. This is the miracle. This is the miracle of artificial intelligence, and that the programming language is human. Everybody in the world is now a programmer.
What he meant is not relevant to coding is dying or not, but if we really need a degree in computer science to learn coding as AI has developed so fast. So in today's video, I'm going to tell you why coding is still worth it in 2025. And I will also talk about many people's concerns about AI and my opinion at the end of this video. So without further ado, let's jump into today's video. The first reason why we need to learn coding is quite intuitive. From the economics perspective, if benefit is way greater than expense, why should we refuse to do that? Even nowadays, knowing how to code is still a widely recognized skill that has brought a lot to us. I can still vividly remember back in 2008 when I was around 9 years old, the internet was already upgraded from dial-up to always-on broadband, but people still had to launch the ISP's PPPoE client, type credentials manually, and click connect. My parents usually kept the password secret so as not to let me spend too much time on the internet. Then I tried around a couple of times and it turned out the password was either someone's telephone number or birthday. Anyway, if you know what I'm talking about, you know it.
Huh?
Back into my story. It was time I played a lot of video games like a crazy arcade, trying to knock out other players with a bunch of colorful bubbles, and convincing my parents so hard to give me pocket money for buying equipment. That was certainly a big source of happiness in my childhood. I'm a lazy person who hates cooking. I don't even remember how many times it has happened that I tried to convince myself to cook at home because it's healthier and cost saving. But the moment I touched the induction cooker, I quit. Then I was always like, you know what? Uber Eats is for sure a better option. How am I supposed to be in a good mood to cook without my stomach being satisfied? Also, I think many mobile apps create a sense of community for us, so we feel we are not alone in this big world. If not to mention my personal benefits related to coding, coding is still on the top tier, high-paying jobs around the world. According to statistics in Glassdoor, for example, Germany offers a senior software developer or data scientist around 76 to 90k euros per year, which is way above the average. But before ChatGPT and a bunch of other AI tools were released, learning coding can be very time-consuming or even expensive. Regarding people who want to land a job in tech, the mainstream way is still to spend many years at university for computer science, data science, or other relevant degrees. You can avoid attending lectures and labs for countless hours and staying up so late for exams and team projects. Back in my time in school, I learned coding fundamentals with a textbook. Every time I got stuck, I had to Google it and filtered out lots of irrelevant information. I also struggled a lot during the lab sessions when the professor taught everyone how to build some sophisticated statistical models in R and Python. As someone who only had a basic coding knowledge at the time, it was really like the biggest tearing down moment in my life. And getting a college degree for a tech job is by no means affordable for many middle-class people. Like in the US, you probably spend at least $20,000 per year just for tuition fees. And then you spend a few years after graduation paying back the student loans. But AI is a game changer in the formula. It's shaking the traditional path, like going to college for a degree, paying a lot for boot camp. Because AI has significantly lowered the entrance barrier so that we are probably not required to get a tech degree for learning how to code and land a job in tech. We actually have so many AI use cases out there that makes your coding life easier. For example, ChatGPT can make a Python or Java study plan customized to your preferences and schedules, plus recommend to you whatever types of study materials you like. You can also use it to test your coding knowledge once you tick everything on the study plan. So I believe for many non-technical people, AI can provide a clear roadmap about where to go. Hey friends, if you're interested in how to learn Python in 2025, check out this video. And based on my personal experience, if I got stuck by a complex Python snippet, I will probably copy and paste it to AI and ask questions like, explain the main idea behind this code snippet as if I am 10 years old. Nowadays, we also have many AI-powered code assistants like GitHub Copilot and Anaconda AI Navigator. They are like pair programmers dressed in code snippets, auto-completing lines, and even explaining codes in plain language. All in all, I want to say AI has already helped you remove lots of obstacles so you can get benefits much easier. So why not? The second reason why I think coding is still worth it is that AI is indeed very advanced, but it hasn't developed to that level to replace real programmers. I know the concept of vibe coding is so popular, but I don't believe it when someone tells you that you don't even need to know any coding knowledge to do vibe coding. This actually sounds not so realistic to me. I think knowing coding fundamentals or not can make a huge difference. For example, one of my agentic AI projects was around 30 to 40% of done through vibe coding. But without knowing some amount of coding knowledge, I would have no idea which direction AI code is leading this project towards and how well it fits the rest of the context, regardless of how advanced and robust this AI code is. Because I know coding before doing vibe coding, I don't always bother to copy-paste bugs to AI for correct answers. I think knowing how to code actually turned out to save me more time. Nowadays, we have so many low-code and no-code platforms helping non-technical people build websites, apps, or internal tools for the company. They are indeed super easy to use and they can stand out at building speed and cost. But bear in mind that this has trade-offs like anything else, because low code and no code must meet people's general needs. You can't expect them to have a customized functionalities you want. So it's good to make MVPs or internal tools within a company at faster pace, but if you want to build real products that directly face a market, you will still end up hiring programmers. And please don't forget, low code and no code are also built by programmers. Lots of people fear that their jobs will be replaced by AI one day. I understand this anxiety when something so new and so powerful suddenly comes into the horizon. In fact, I do believe lots of repetitive and routine types of jobs will be at risk, and doing coding alone is not a good thing either. I also heard a very extreme life story from my cousin's husband, who was a Java software developer in a top 5 Chinese tech company. I was so shocked when he told me that how many times the employees there use AI tools per week is part of a performance review, and his company forced back-end developers to use AI coding tools like Cursor to do front-end developers' work. Then I asked him, so what are these front-end developers going to do? And he said, they were fired. Through this story, what I want to express is not that AI is replacing real programmers on a large scale, but we need to admit that this kind of things is happening somewhere. However, it's few and far between, especially in the financial industry where lots of regulations limit AI use at a large extent. If you know, you know. And in the real world, you need to understand business before getting to know some fancy AI coding tools. Because any tools are used for solving business problems at work. AI is indeed very powerful, but in real business, not all problems need to be solved by AI. I was talking about this AI topic with my boss from London last week. He told me he's so surprised that so many people in the banking sectors don't really know how banks make money, how treasury within the bank works. So given this fact, he kind of doubted what they are going to do with AI tools. Then I was like, maybe if AI can free them of a repetitive daily work, they can spare more time for growing business knowledge. Then he said, unfortunately, I don't see this happening. Besides, I believe what will replace us is not AI, but people knowing both how to use AI and domain knowledge. So Always upskill yourself and don't be accountants who refuse to use Excel. Anyway, I think we don't necessarily interpret it in a negative way. AI has enlarged our ability to build many fancy stuff that we don't have enough skills to build before. It may kill some jobs, but it's creating lots of new positions in the job market in the meantime, and many tech jobs like data science and software developers are not dying, they're just evolving due to AI. That's all I want to share with you today. If you are looking forward to more AI related content, subscribe to my channel and see you next time. Bye.